Hey guys, Logan Reads back here for another video. Yeah, sorry I didn't post last weekend. I didn't have access to my book or any of them to be there. But we's back. Yay. We are on chapter 2 of The World's Worst Children. So, are we ready? But quick announcement before we begin, guys. I am doing our 1 to 2 hour long videos starting next weekend. And this time I'm actually gonna do it. They are going to be for sleeping to. You can have them on in the background. Or you could have them... You can have them on in the background while you do some work. Chores. Housework. Or if you really wanted to, you could just watch them staring at the screen like, yeah. Oh yay. My cat's got an energy boost. Anyway, let's begin. Bertha, the blubberer. Big mouth for bawling, fingers sticky with chocolate and cake, and enormous tear ducts. And this time we've got the brew. Yummy. Bertha, the blubberer. Bertha was a blubberer. A blubberer. She would sob, she would howl, she would bawl. The little girl was only 8 years old, but she must have spent 7 of them blubbering. Anything and everything would set her off. Are you ready for a list? Good. Loud noise. Silence, bright lights, the dark, small dogs, large dogs, medium-sized dogs, rodents of any kind, red socks, oddly specific, frogs, toads, tadpoles especially, bouncing balls, fireworks, dust, the heat, the cold, ducks, geese and swans, orange juice with bits in it, which is really nice in my opinion, burnt toast. I can see why she doesn't like burnt toast. Kettles, stickers, wet grass, park benches, men with tattoos, low-flying aircraft, the colour purple, cat hair, rain, water slides, mud, anything made of plastic, Christmas crackers, the raisins in raisin biscuits, bouncy castles, smells of any kind, even nice ones. Clouds, moustaches, vegetables, burps, monobrows, nostril hair, ear hair, and anyone in a hat. But my good lord, look at the size of that moustache. He's gonna be proud of that. The little girl had a younger brother called William. From the day he was born, Bertha was beastly to him. She hated having to share her parents' attention. Then, one day, Bertha discovered a wonderful thing. She could cry and blame it all on her little brother. And the more she cried, the more attention she got. So the girl thought up more and more wicked plans to make William look horrid. Bertha's favourite ploy was to cry and cry and cry alone in her bedroom, pretending her brother had hurt her. When Mother bounded up the stairs to see what was wrong, Bertha would blub through a river of tears. Mama, it was William! He pinched me! William pinched me! Hard Sometimes she would elaborate on the lie by pinching herself. Bertha would then offer up the very tiny red blotch on her arm as evidence of her brother's beastliness. She would wail. Then Mother would burst into her young son's room next door to confront the boy. Young William was usually reading or playing quietly with his earplugs in. He had endured a lifetime of bawling, and had therefore fashioned earplugs out of marshmallows. Marshmallows. I would just eat them. I'd just be like, ooh, not nice weather out today. So we could get on with things in peace. Oh, and you may be thinking, where are we this week? Well, we're on the other side of the kitchen. There's my coffee machine. Why did you pinch your darling sister? Mother would demand. What? William would reply. It was hard to hear with marshmallows in your ears. And why have you got marshmallows in your ears? William would take out the marshmallows and protest his innocence. I haven't touched them, Mother, the boy would plead. I have been reading in my room this whole time. A likely story, Mother would declare. No pudding for you tonight, after dinner tonight. But no pudding for a week, but no pudding for a month. Eventually, the boy would fall silent. He liked pudding, but not as much as his sister. The little girl loved pudding, even more than she loved crying. Once at the local bakery, she even offered to swap her brother for a slice of chocolate fudge cake. It was a large slice, but still. And if there was no pudding for William, Bertha would be allowed to eat all his. Double pudding. All Bertha had to do was roll around on her bed and blubber. On the day our story begins, the two children were left alone inside the house. Mother was in the garden tending to her beloved roses, as Father mowed the lawn. Spotting that her parents were outside, a fiendish scheme crossed Bertha's mind. It was her most devilish plot yet, breathtakingly simple, and all the more brilliant. The plan was this. Bertha would pull out a clump of her own hair and then bawl the house down. When Mother and Father came running in, the finger of blame would be pointed at poor William. Poor William. I feel bad for the dude. Pulling out a clump of hair would appear to be William's worst crime yet. It trumped pinching, prodding, poking, biting, dead arms and dead legs. Oh, dead arms are not fun. He would surely be packed straight off to an orphanage, and Bertha would have double pudding, maybe even triple pudding, every night for the rest of her life. It was glorious. Pudding, pudding, and more pudding. The wicked little girl tiptoed over to her brother's room to check he was there. Indeed, he was, quietly getting on with his homework with his marshmallow earplugs in as usual. Next, Bertha sneaked back to her room. She looked herself in the mirror and began phase 1 of her plan. She reached up to her hair, she reached up to her head and grabbed a clump of hair, shutting her eyes, and she yanked it out as hard as she could. Bertha didn't need to pretend to cry. The pain was so intense that she couldn't help but yell, "Wah!" She examined the strands of her hair in her hand. and the bald spot she had made on her head was about the size of a ping-pong ball. Bertha then put her ear to the bedroom door to see if her parents were on their way. Strangely, they were not. So Bertha did it again. This time, she yanked even more hair from her head. Now there was another bald spot. This one was the size of a tennis ball. Like, that big, I think. But still, no one came running. So Bertha did it again. Wah! And again. Wah! And again. Wah! Need to sit in my room for that one. The pain was so extreme that Bertha's eyes were now stinging with tears. She could barely see what she was doing anymore. Yet still, the girl yanked out more and more of her hair. Eventually wiping the tears from her face, she stared in the mirror. Bertha was now completely bald, except for one lonely strand of hair on the top of her head. Just then she heard a noise. Bertha's eyes darted to her bedroom door. To her horror, her mother, father, and brother were all looking at her through the door crack. Bertha stared them down for a moment. They stared back at her. How was she going to explain all this? Bertha didn't know what to do. So, she did what she always did. The girl screwed up her face and began bawling. Wah! It never failed. Wah! Except this time. "What on earth are you crying for?" demanded Father. "Because Mama and Papa, that beastly brother of mine, pulled out all my hair," replied the girl through her theatrical sobs. William couldn't help but smirk at the sight of his wicked sister, who had been well and truly busted. "Actually, you still got one hair sticking out the top of your head," proclaimed the boy. Bertha examined herself in the mirror again. So, she plucked it out between her fingers. Bloop. "That can't have hurt," protested William. "It was just one little hair." Bertha was becoming desperate now. But you pulled out all the others, you William, you evil little wretch." "We've been standing here for the last few minutes, young lady," began Mother. "We saw the whole thing." The smuggest grin spread across William's already smug face. "But," protested Bertha. "No doubt you have been doing this all along," accused Mother. "But, no pudding for you, young lady." Bertha stopped protesting for a moment. The punishment didn't seem so bad. Missing one pudding. She had a stash of chocolate under her bed anyway. The girl gave her brother a self-satisfied look. Then, like a prize fighter, Mother delivered the knockout blow. Ever again. Bertha froze. This was worse than having no hair. No puddings? But Bertha loved puddings. If she could, she would only eat puddings, puddings and more puddings. How could anyone live without cake and ice cream and meringues and cream and sponge cake and Eton mess and French fancies and treacle sponge and custard tart and apple crumble and custard and spotted dip and sticky toffee pudding, chocolate mousse, brandy snaps, trifle, jam roly-poly, cupcakes, gel and jelly. All preferably eaten in one sitting. Really, Mum? Pleaded the girl. This can't be true. No puddings forever? Forever and ever, replied Mother, who was mightily cross that her daughter had fooled her for so long. I would be as well. Now, every night, Bertha would have to watch her brother across the dinner table, savouring every last morsel of not only his delicious pudding, but what would have been Bertha's too. Double pudding. Most evenings, Mother would give William her own pudding as well to make up for the harsh treatment over the years. Triple pudding! Often the boy would be allowed to eat his father's pudding too. Quadruple pudding! It was torture for the girl to watch her brother eat all her favourite pudding night after night after night, while she had not a crumb of one. Bakewell tart, Arctic roll, eaten mess. William would lick the bowls clean. To make matters worse, under the table, the boy would pinch his sister's leg as he scoffed away. Wah! He pinched me! Bertha would cry. Nobody ever believed her. Bertha the blubberer had blubbered one too many blubbers. Well, that was chapter 2 of The World's Worst Children, Bertha the Blubberer. I hope everyone enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe, as it really helps me out and allows me to continue making these videos for all of you. I will see you all next time. Goodbye.